In the ancient hillside town of Raventon, where narrow stone streets twisted like forgotten secrets, lived a man named Jonas, known for always walking with a small empty satchel and no map to guide him. People whispered that he was strange, a wanderer without purpose, a man who traveled without knowing where he was going. But Jonas carried something far more valuable than a map, a promise he made to his dying mother: "Don't stay where life ends, my son. Walk until you find where your soul begins." So each morning, before the sun warmed the terracotta roofs of Raventon, Jonas would step out into the world with nothing but his satchel, a loaf of bread, and a heart open to possibility. He walked through forests that smelled of pine and memory, crossed valleys where the wind sang like freedom, and past villages where people tried to tell him where he should go. But Jonas always smiled and said, "I'm not lost. I'm learning who I can become." One day, after weeks of travel, Jonas reached a vast desert, endless, golden, merciless, yet he stepped into it without hesitation. Days turned into nights, the sand burned his feet, and the silence pressed against his chest like a test of courage. On the fifth night, exhausted and trembling, Jonas collapsed beside a dying acacia tree. He thought of turning back but remembered his mother's voice: "Maps show you paths others have taken. Your heart shows the one meant for you." With newfound strength, he stood and kept walking until he stumbled upon a small oasis where an old nomad woman was sitting by the water, weaving baskets from palm leaves. She looked at him with eyes as sharp as moonlight and said, "A traveler without a map. Brave, or foolish? Which are you?" Jonas replied softly, "Maybe a little of both." She laughed, a sound like wind dancing through old stories, and invited him to rest. Over the next few days, she taught him how to read the desert, not with maps, but with shadows, stars, and the patterns of the dunes. Jonas realized that the world was its own map, and the heart was the compass that knew the way long before the feet did. When he left the oasis, the nomad woman handed him a woven basket and whispered, "This is empty now, but someday it will carry the reason you walked." Jonas continued across the desert, then through mountains cold enough to freeze his breath, until he reached a bustling city glittering with opportunity. But in the city, he saw people racing everywhere, rushing, pushing, competing, all of them clinging to maps of success they never questioned. Jonas took a small job at a bakery, kneading dough before sunrise. He noticed the baker's daughter, a gentle girl named Alara, who dreamed of becoming an artist but feared disappointing her strict father. Jonas told her, "Every dream begins without a map." His words lit something inside her, and slowly she began to paint again. Her art grew bright and bold, like the dreams she once buried. Months passed, and Jonas realized something unexpected: the emptiness inside him was gone. Ilara's laughter, her courage, her stubborn hope had filled his days with meaning. The basket the nomad woman gave him was no longer empty, it was metaphorically full of all he had found: love, purpose, a reason to stay. One evening, Jonas walked to the highest hill overlooking the glowing city. He finally understood: his mother hadn't told him to wander forever, she told him to seek the place where his soul awakened. And he had found it, not on a map, but in the heart of someone who saw him, understood him, and believed in him. Years later, travelers passing through the city often met an old man sitting outside the bakery, telling stories of deserts, mountains, and journeys without maps. They asked him how he reached such a fulfilling life. Jonas would point to his chest and smile gently: "I didn't choose the place. I chose the journey. And the journey led me home."